Okay, Chairman, you are live. Floor is yours.
Okay, good morning. Good morning, Tribal Council. Good morning to those in attendance via with our go-to meeting. We are here for a regular Tribal Council meeting. July 6, 2020, 9 a.m. Via go-to meeting. This is live streamed. We'll call to order at 9:04 a.m. John, would you say opening prayer for us, please?
Oh, choka, mauna, wo conchungla. Eguno, egudode, unigate, no julijalo. Choka, today we were having our regular meeting to take care of the people's business as we sit at the table of our people's promise and future. And we want to do the best, you know, and we want to have a clear mind and an open heart and always be that way. So Choka, I ask you that you help us find our path again and to help us understand that it's a real short distance back to you and back to that good path that you've made for us. You've made a very short distance for us. So thank you for that, Choka, and help us. You know, always help us and help us to continue to understand why we came here and why we decided to sit at this table. And it's for the people, and that those people have needs, and that we have elders and children and the language and history and culture and land, real powerful things that we want to take care of in a good way. Thank you.
Hey, John.
Pino.
Okay, we're on to the agenda, approving the agenda. Is there any additions?
Chairman, I have some additions.
Go ahead, John.
My first addition is the Winnebago celebration powwow. The second addition is vacant board seats from our recently departed council members.
Okay.
And that's it, Chairman, those two.
Okay. Is there any other additions? No other addition? Make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Eric. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Roland. Motion by Eric and second by Roland. Any objections? No objection, discussion? No discussion. Motion pass. 6-0-0. Thank you. First items for the meeting is the minutes. There's 10 of them. Number 1, 5/29/20 Treasurer's Report meeting minutes. Get a motion to approve the Treasurer's Report minutes.
Make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
There's a motion by Eric. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Roland. Any objections? Discussion? No objections, no discussion. Motion passed 6-0-0. 6/3/20 regular tribal council meeting minutes. 6/3/20. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ron. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Roland and a second by Eric. Is there any objections? No objections? Discussion? No discussion? Motion passed 6-0. Thank you. Number 3, 6/8/20, land meeting and special TC meeting, eligible voters list minutes.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Roland.
Second.
Seconded by Eric. Is there any objections? Any discussion? No discussion, motion passed 6-0. Number 4, 6/10/20, CEO report meeting minutes. I get a motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Eric. Can I get a second? Can I get a second to approve the CEO report meeting minutes?
Second.
The seconded by Louis. Is there any objections? No objections. Discussion? No discussion. Motion passed 6-0. Number 5, 6/15/20, mid-monthly meeting minutes. Get a motion to approve, please.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ron. Is there a second? Can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Eric. Any objections? Is there any discussion? No objections, no discussion, motion passed. 6-0. Thank you. Number 6, 6/22/20, special TC meeting, eligible voters list minutes.
Motion to approve, Chairman.
Second.
Motion by John, second by Roland. Is there any objections? Discussion? No objections, no discussion, motion passed 6-0. Thank you. No, item 7, 6/23/20, general council meeting minutes. I get a motion to approve, please.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Eric. Is there a second? Motion by Eric. Is there a second to approve the 6/23/20 general council meeting minutes?
Second.
Motion by Eric, second by Roland. Is there any objections? No objections, discussion? No discussion? Motion passed 6-0, thank you. Number 8, 6/25/20, special tribal council meeting minutes, ethical complaints hearings.
Motion to approve, Chairman.
John?
Second.
Motion by John, and second by Roland. Any objections? Discussion? No objections, no discussion. Motion passed 6-0. Thank you. Item 9, 6/26/20, Treasurer's Report Meeting Minutes. Get a motion to approve, please.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Eric. Do I have a second?
I'll second. I second it.
Okay, second by Carl. Motion by Eric, second by Carl. Any objections? Discussion? No objections, no discussion. Motion passed 6-0. Thank you. Last item on the minutes. 7/1/20, special TC meeting, special election schedule. I get a motion to approve, please.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ron, I got a second. John? Seconded by John. Are there any objections? Discussion? No objections, no discussion. Motion passed 6-0. Thank you. Okay, we're on the ratifications. Ratify the MOA between Winnebago Tribe of Nebraska, LPTC, Winnebago Comprehensive Health Service System for COVID-19 quarantine and isolation housing. Motion to ratify.
So moved.
Motion by Louis. Is there a second?
I'll second, Chairman.
Motion by Louis, second by John. Is there any objections? No objections, no discussion, motion passed 6-0. Thank you. Item 2, adopt resolution 20-155, tribal enrollment application, emergency enrollment death benefit.
Motion to ratify.
Second.
There's a motion by John and a second by Roland to ratify. Any objections? Discussion? No objections, no discussion, motion passed 6-0. Thank you. We're on to new business. Lance Morgan, request from the state of Nebraska, Form 68. Is Lance online? There he is. Morning, Lance, go ahead.
Okay, I thought we should probably, I forward the council a letter we got from Nebraska in July 22nd, June 22nd, and it was from some sort of mid-level guy, I think, in their tax department. And the letter said that it included a form, and it's sort of a new form, but it's basically a form from the past. If those of you remember going to get gas at the Company A back in when it was still the Company A and you had to apply for a refund, this form requires that you put the date, the name of the tribal member, the tribal member's ID or social security number, the last four of the social security number. I think that's relevant for something we're talking about. And the name of the tribe, the brand of cigarette you bought, and the number of packs. And so I think for a couple of reasons, it's pretty alarming. The most alarming thing is that in order to get this, let me back up. The reason that the state wants to do it is because tribal members are exempt from state taxation. And how we go about that exemption is what's at stake. What we have been doing is basically applying a formula approach. So when we buy the cigarettes from the wholesaler, and we basically say 90% of the customers are Native American and 10% are non-Indian. And we apply for a 90% refund. That avoids the need to have to prove every purchase was bought by a Native American. Back in the 90s, I got into an argument with the state about this, saying that if a non-Indian owns the store, maybe this makes sense. But once the tribe owns the store, the tribe itself is completely is a tax exempt entity, and so arguably we shouldn't have to even do anything. We could just put 100%. But in order to avoid a fight, we ended up doing a compact on gas where we have a tribal tax across the entire reservation, and we give the state 25% of it. And we could never come to a compact with Nebraska. I believe Louis LaRose was part of some of those negotiations a few times on the tobacco side because there's some other complications in that area. And so what we ended up doing was just saying, all right, for Winnebago, we'll give you 90%. We'll apply for a 90% refund. In Emerson, we apply for a 75% refund because that's what we do with the gas tax. And that has been the pattern of dealing for about 15 years. There's been no dispute. There's been no form. And so to come out of the blue in the middle of a pandemic with a burdensome and offensive form, I thought was a bit of a surprise. So I forwarded this onto the council. I also responded to the state and told them that having us fill out this form, handing somebody a clipboard in an era of social distancing with a pin was dangerous. The Santee were involved in this too, and their lawyer said we would like a less lethal option. And so we had a call with about 10 of their lawyers the other day, and we went through this whole thing, and basically all they said was, we'll let you go till August 1st, and then you've got to fill out the form. And we responded again, and they came back with another response saying, well, maybe you could develop some sort of app or tracking system, you know. And what's unfortunate about this is there's nothing wrong with the system we have. Their concern, they basically just said it, is that white people are getting a deal. I mean, they didn't quite say it in those terms, but that's what they said. And they're worried about somebody getting over on something. And I had suggested that if they're truly concerned about that, that we might be able to modify the percentage without having to fill out this form for every individual transaction. I also explained to them that we have up to 3,500 customers a day in our reservation stores, and handing every Native American a clipboard and filling out all this information with tribal ID stuff was a real problem from an efficiency standpoint. It also was an identity theft issue. And I thought, I explained to them how ridiculous it was to have to put our social security numbers down on this form that everyone's going to see. Their solution was to have the clerk fill out the form. So for some reason, they continue to want to be, I don't know why this form is even necessary. It strikes me as a blast from the past. But they're pretty persistent on it. So I talked to, I was in Lincoln the other day on the gaming initiative petition, and I talked to one of our lobbyists, and he said he could arrange a meeting with their boss, the tax commissioner. And I think that's something we need to do. Something that you guys may not remember is that we went to negotiate this. I don't think anyone was on the council at the time except Louis. We went to negotiate a tax compact, and that fell apart some years ago. And that's what's led to probably some of the trouble we've had with the cigarettes issues in the past. And myself and Louis and I think another council member, maybe one of the lawyers, were set down to sort of be the negotiation team. And I don't think that's still, that's probably still a valid thing. But I think this is a big enough issue that it needed to kick up to the council. This isn't, whether you like cigarettes or not, and I don't smoke, but we sell a lot of them, obviously. This is a tribal rights issue. You know, making us go through this sort of demeaning, I think, process to prove we're native in our own store on our own land makes no sense whatsoever, especially when there's an alternative of just adapting the percentages. The long-term solution is probably a compact, but we haven't been able to reach that discussion, primarily because of something called the Master Settlement Agreement, which is an agreement where the states and tobacco companies have created a little cabal between themselves and keep trying to enforce it on tribes. So I don't know if there's hope for a compact negotiation, but at the very least, I think that we should kick it up to the tax commissioner of Nebraska, because he hasn't been involved in this, and have that meeting in the next week or two, and to see if we can come to some sort of solution that allows us to continue forward, at least through the pandemic, or perhaps adapt the percentages slightly so that they don't think that somehow white people are getting some great deal. But either way, if we do nothing, we're going to be presented August 1st with this form, And I don't think anybody wants to fill out this form. It's personal reasons, but when it comes to health reasons, it strikes me as absolutely ridiculous to be handing a clipboard and pen. And Nebraska's idea of turning that burden over to our employees is not really a solution whatsoever. They're acting like this is the era of the abacus, when we have when this is a modern era when we can just come up with other solutions for it. I also think that their solution of us developing some sort of high-tech app doesn't make any sense either. Why should we have to spend money for something that could be easily solved? So what I'm looking for, I suppose, is input. And right now, my plan is to meet with the head of the tax people, but I would like probably some more political power behind me on that. And I can't speak for Louis, but I know he was a part of it before. And John Snowball is on our board too. And I was going to suggest that maybe the tribe think about having him join some of these conversations or get up to speed. So I'm not out, doing something without some political input. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, thanks, Lance. My first thought, and I'll lead off the discussion, is sure, draft a little letter, send it to me. I can sign it and request that meeting as soon as possible and see what you guys can get resolved. I don't. I know our people smoke those cigarettes too, so I don't want them going through that. So see what you can do. Draft that letter, get it to me. I'll get it on a letterhead and send it back. You can send it to the proper people and get that meeting set up and how we're going to meet and when we're going to meet, and we'll see who can attend. Okay.
Well, that would be very helpful. I've verbally requested a meeting, but a letter from you would carry more weight than anything from me. So I'll make sure we get that. And I'll add some of the concerns that we have, but I'll keep it somewhat brief.
Okay. Anything else?
Chairman, I got something.
Go ahead, John.
Of course, we're our own people, and we have our own businesses and our gas station, and we sell cigarettes, and that's our right that we can do that we can try to partake in that economic development to try to take care of our most needy. And I don't think this is reasonable. I think we can have negotiations and come to something that's agreeable on both sides with the state and the tribe. And another concern that comes up is how would it be possible for our store employees, when somebody comes in, to judge them right there on their looks, on their race, and say, well, they look like they're non-Indian, or they look like they're Indian. That's just another area where it seems like it would be impossible. And the whole race thing going on in America, like this is still happening at our level too. So those are just some of my thoughts, Chairman, that I wanted to share. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, John. Sure, because awareness of what's going on needs to happen. And if the tax commissioner doesn't know, and above him, they need to know what's going on. We can only try.
Mr. Chairman, the reservation is the only place where race matters for price. And Nebraska is doing it in the name of imposing the exemption, but those taxes don't apply to Winnebago tribal members. And making us go through this sort of form is really offensive. And I've spent 25 years fighting these issues with these guys because they keep trying to put us in a racial box. The Winnebago tribe is the first tribe in the country to impose a gasoline tax that is based on jurisdiction, not race. And then we shared that with the state of Nebraska, 25% of it. And so a lot of other tribes are copying that. And we've been trying to do something similar. And I've been persistently annoying to the state because I don't want to make race the determining factor for price in any scenario. And it just seems illegal and un-American on every level. But they keep trying to do it.
Question.
Go ahead.
There's a tribe up in Idaho that I go up to up there. And it's called the Shoshone Bannock tribe. And what they do is they enter like their last four of their enrollment number, and they get a discount at the gas pumps or inside. Is there any way we'd be able to go about something like that?
Well, that's one of the possibilities that they suggested, but we don't have the systems or the networks to do that right now. And that would probably cost quite a bit of money to do. I think it's possible that something like that would happen. The other problem we'd have to have is keep the database in place in order to do that. And people would have to know their number. I imagine they would learn it if it would save them money. We also, any tribal member is eligible for this discount, not just Winnebago, but if we were to go to the Omaha reservation and buy, we would get the discount. And if the Omaha members came here, which is more likely, they would get the discount. And so having that database is going to be pretty critical to do that. The point, and Nebraska is going to have to verify all of those transactions. So this is a very cumbersome way to solve a problem. What I had suggest is that they just, if they're worried about it, that they can just adjust the percentage slightly, and then we all just go about our business without having to go through all of these extra hoops or steps. But that is a possibility, Eric. That is a possibility. One of the solutions.
Okay, I have something for Lance. Lance, if they're requesting this form, so in actuality, they're requesting more work on themselves to go through that whole list and do that discount?
Yes, they're going to have to hire somebody. They're going to have to hire somebody because they're not just doing this. They're doing the Santee, and they probably, I have not communicated with the Omaha tribe, but they probably did the same thing. So you're talking about thousands of transactions. Think how many times the average person goes to the store, you know, and we don't do any of that for gas. We just have an agreement where it's an automatic system and nobody even knows what's happening. We just do it on the back end. And so otherwise they're going to have to hire one or two people. The other problem we had, if you guys wouldn't know this, or maybe Louis might remember, is the Company A used to lose money. And one of the ways it used to lose money was because people would fill out the form and they'd fill it out wrong. You know, they just put any number in there. And the tribe was giving the discount at the time of the transaction, and then the state was denying it a couple months later, and because the numbers weren't correct or accurate. And so we were selling gas, you know, with 25-cent discount and never getting that money actually back because we'd have to buy it with the tax on it. And so the store was a perpetual money loser I mean, it didn't necessarily have enough volume to make a lot of money, but if you're selling gas at a discount and not getting it back, it put them into the hole on a consistent basis. So they're going to be the judge and jury on these transactions, and we won't even know about it for 2 months. And my guess is it'll probably be a high enough error rate to push the store into potential losses.
Yeah, so that was kind of my point that I wanted to get to, is because that they're going to have these thousands of the lists of people, and then for them to go through the list. So it's, to me, it seems like a way for them to prolong the payment or whatever back to the tribe.
Yeah, I think one of two things are going on. One, there's some sort of nerdy tax guy, and they might be watching this for all I know, who's just got some form that he's proud of and then trying to impose on us and doesn't care on the difficulties and the offensive nature of it. Or there's just some general effort to sort of get the tribes back in line with some of the tax policies and initiatives in that area. And the tobacco companies, the major tobacco companies, have been pushing the state for a long time. Under that settlement agreement I mentioned, they can withhold money from the state if they don't aggressively enforce some tax rules. And they have been pushing for years to do some of these things. And so I think it's possible that it's something sinister behind the scenes trying to get the tribes back under control, which is another offensive. You know, we have a PowerPoint that we've prepared for the tribal council and our board that goes through the 20-year history of this fight with the tobacco side when we meet in our next meeting, and we can go through that in absolute detail. So these things don't happen in a vacuum generally, but if it is a mistake or something where some lower level person is trying to do it, I suspect a meeting with somebody higher up might be able to solve this before the August 1st deadline.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, and then my other thing, Lance, is so what you're talking is going to be more legal fees and time down the road. Is it possible to get in with the other tribes and work together on this with them also?
Yeah, I think that I certainly can handle it from the legal standpoint. 95% of it, and I'm free, and so I don't think that's a big issue. But if we're going to if we're going to, but I do think if we get into an agreement phase, the tribe will have to get some legal representation in there. It's probably something that Ho-Chunk would cover from a legal standpoint, just because it's, you know, we're the one that owns all the stores. I'm just assuming that would be the case. But the Santee themselves have threatened litigation. I don't know how serious that is, but we have coordinated with the Santee. We didn't coordinate with any special way. Their lawyer we used to be friends, and we're still friends actually. And he just called me up and we got on the phone and coordinated. I don't have any contact with the Omaha. If you guys would like, we could coordinate with them, but you know, I don't necessarily have the power to do government to government discussions, but I would suggest that it's probably a good idea to get them in the loop too. And then we can coordinate our response. So in these situations, the state, what they try to do is pick one off and they get somebody to agree to a form, and then you say everybody else has to too. But if we stand united, it's much more likely that we can get somebody to, we can get a better outcome.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah.
that was one of the things that I wanted to bring to your attention, is that we're in the middle of a settlement. Does one thing have to do with the other? All of a sudden, this comes out of left field. And then two, the other thing is, where are the other Nebraska tribes at in regards to this particular issue? Are we alone as the Winnebago? And then I hear the Santees. So where are the Omahas? Where are the Poncas in this fight?
I don't believe the Ponca have a gas
We have
station.
a coalition, Mr. Chair, and I would suggest that we meet with this coalition and have discussion with them in regards to this particular matter as soon as possible. If we could get that set up so that we can get together and then work through that issue. That's all I got.
I think that the Ponca, I don't believe have a gas station, unless I'm mistaken. If you guys want me to, we can contact the Omaha and see if we can get another type quick meeting in place. Timing is critical because the August 1st deadline is happening. I think if I could make a suggestion, I think we push forward with our own agenda and see if we can bring them along. In my experience in the past on the gas tax stuff, Winnebago carried the water for everybody. When we did our agreement, the Santee copied it almost exactly. The Omaha tribe did their own thing, and they got hammered. They gave this, we write the check to the state of Nebraska, and Nebraska writes the check to the Omaha tribe. And so Nebraska at one point quit writing them checks over some disputes. And there's a thing on my office door that says never be the one waiting for a check from another government. And so I think that we can try to coordinate and get everybody under the tent, but due to the timing, we should probably push forward and see if we can drag them forward. But if you want, I can try to get everybody in the same call.
Chairman,
Go ahead.
I would agree with Councilman Warner on getting this coalition meeting as soon as possible. There's quite a few topics that we need to cover with this coalition besides this tax, and they haven't met for a while. And the last time we did meet, only 2 or 3 of the tribes showed up when I was down in the Omaha casino. And so I'd like to get another coalition meeting set up as soon as possible so we can all be on the same sheet of music. And I think we could have Mr. Morgan there as well to kind of keep us on that same page. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, in listening to all this, it kind of sounds like harassment from the government, state of Nebraska, to me, to make it try to hinder our operations, our economy. If Indians here have to fill out forms for buying cigarettes, why don't the whole country have to fill out the form? What would happen there? That's just my comment. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it would be funny if the white people had to fill out the forms. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
they'd freak out if they had to do that. I didn't answer one of Rollins' questions, and I think Carl alluded to it about harassment. You know, we have settled with the ATF a month or two ago, at least in principle. And right after the ink is dry on that, we get this. And during my call with the state, they said they had developed. I said, this form looks like it's from the 90s, from the gas. And the guy said they've had this form for 2 years. And so it is likely that they've just been, and that it is likely that they might be related, because the tobacco companies themselves keep trying to threaten the state of Nebraska and are trying to force them to come after us. And so this might just be one more step of control that they've just been waiting until the other stuff got settled. So so I think that is certainly a possibility. You know, we just declared détente on one of our long running battles, and they just start up another one. And so they're either tone deaf on tribal state relations, or complete idiots when it comes to like COVID and handing around clipboards and pen, or they're being pressured to do something to us. And I think that that's probably possible. I think given the COVID situation, they should definitely have some flexibility in what they're doing, and we should demand it.
So, Lance, do you think that if you didn't sell the name major brand cigarettes, that they would still be doing this?
No, the way taxation works is we're exempt from state tax, and but what we do on the native brands is since we make our own product. The Supreme Court has said if you do your own value-added manufacturing on the reservation, then the tribal tax exempts the state tax completely, totally preempts it. So we have two types of taxes going on here on the reservation from two different state distribution systems. And so we have the tribal tax, tribal manufactured brands, and they hate that because as part of that, we also don't pay into that settlement fund. And that's what makes the tobacco companies mad. But we also have the major brands, which come through the state-controlled, the state licensed distribution system. And that's where they force us into an exemption. Now but that really hasn't bothered anybody because we just do it automatically. And now it's about to become one of those things that changes the dynamic. So it is possible that we may not sell the major brands at all if that's the case, if we don't want to actually fill out that form and we can't come to some alternative arrangement. And you're talking about removing the major brands from all of our on-reservation stores and likely the Omaha reservation also. And that is a large chunk of business for us that will go elsewhere. So there'll be an economic impact to the stores either way. And so coming to some resolution without a lawsuit or something simple by just adapting percentages is going to be a lot more rational approach and a lot safer given the situation. I think what we could do is at least ask for a year extension while we figure it out until they get a vaccine or something going on.
Any more comments, Lance?
My one request is that I have a contact person in the tribe, whether it's the chair or the vice chair or somebody. I only suggested the vice chair because he's also on our board. And Louis has history with this issue too. And I think him and I are still officially part of the negotiation team. But I don't want to go off and do something or commit to something without political involvement. But this, since timing is so short, we only have 3 weeks. It needs to be a pretty short team that then we can come back and report to the tribal council before the end of the month with a plan.
In your letter, are we going to request an extension on this?
I think we should list multiple options in the letter.
Okay.
I'd like to say, what if we just during these 4 tribes, if Ponkas come on, that we each tribe take care of themselves in this process before we start crossing over with these discounts from tribe to tribe? Would it be easier for each tribe to take care of their own first, and then we can move forward to integrating the tribes with each other?
Yeah, I think that the main risk of going individually is that one of the other tribes will do something that's not that's not in our interest. And what happens often I've been involved in multiple states and multiple tax compacts negotiations over the years. And what they try to do is pick one tribe and do a deal with them and then try to hold every tribe to that deal. And so I think that right now on gas, we have 2 on the same page and 1 on a different page. And I think that the other tribes will likely follow our lead. But I don't think we need, and we should coordinate our response mostly if only to keep the other tribes from doing something that's detrimental to us and maybe even themselves. But I think that we need to push forward as if we're doing it alone and then invite them in to participate with us and join us. And my guess is they will, because our reputation on these issues is strong, you know. And so my guess is that we could probably be the leader of this negotiation, and of course the other tribes would be equal partners. But I mean, I think we can help handle some of the economic and legal side of it.
Okay, I was saying that because if we're gonna all go in together, then I definitely agree that we need to have a coalition meeting as soon as possible.
Chairman,
John?
that's a good idea, but I think our biggest concern is time, 3 weeks. So maybe a compromise would be a letter from the chairman requesting Chairman Larry Wright Jr., which is the chairman of the coalition, to ask the other chairmen to sign on, the other 4 chairmen, and then that letter could happen faster than a meeting. We don't, you know, it's during a pandemic, and these other councilmen have a lot going on as well. So maybe a letter would be a compromise as time is a concern. And you know, I feel real strong about this because, you know, what the state's really asking us to do is racial profile in our stores, and the people that we're targeting is our own people, and they want us to make them fill out this form. And what if there's a Native American and an Indian who doesn't look like they're Indian, and then what happens there? So it's just insane that this is coming to us. So this is something that we should go forward with. And so that's what I wanted to say, Chairman. Thanks.
Thanks, John.
Mr. Chair,
Go ahead.
I'm in agreement with what's being said, but I do strongly feel that we must meet with all these other Nebraska tribes sooner than later. Have this discussion, do a face-to-face, or however we need to do it, Skype, whatever. Get it done, get it out of the way. In the meantime, you can still write the letter.
I think we could coordinate that, or the tribe could coordinate it. I just need marching orders on that. I don't have power to coordinate government to government relations for the Winnebago tribe. If you empower me to,
Mr. Chair.
Okay, Lance, draft that letter and get it sent to us. Teresa or I, and we'll sign it. Put it on letterhead, get it back to you. And I will contact, I know, like Lance said, Ponca's, they don't have any stores, but I know Santee and Omaha's do. I will send an email to them to find out anything that's going on and call for a meeting if Chairman Wright feels like it's needed. And we'll address that, but we'll address us. I don't want to leave the tribes out, you know, for now, but, you know, let's address our problem, get it addressed and get it fixed. Let's get an extension. And we will share with the other tribes what we have done, if you all want to. So we'll leave it at that, and we'll do that. Lance, get that letter sent, and hopefully we can resolve this by end of the month, you know, and you don't have to go past. So we'll leave that up to you, and we'll all be in contact. Just CC the tribal council so we all kind of know what's going on. Okay.
Okay, I will get the letter drafted either by today or tomorrow morning, and get it down to. And the letter could easily be adapted to a coalition letter too, I suspect, if that's what we get to. And if you want me to do anything addition in terms of briefing the tribal leadership, if you get that meeting together, let me know.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yep. And being John is on the board, and he's on the tax commission, you know. He could be a leader in this.
I'll keep him and and anyone else, Louis, I suppose, if he's still in the negotiation team, in the loop. And then we can, because there's going to be a lot of weaving and back and forth and discussions. And so we'll use a smaller group to come to some sort of solution, and then we'll come back and report back to the council to see if we can get some stuff organized. And anybody who wants to participate beyond that, just let me know. It's not a secret process. So,
Okay. All right.
thank you.
I've seen too many situations where we've with the Omaha and they pulled out. They did that on the power line easement on the gas line. Oil pulled out. We went ahead, Sam Tebow and I, and negotiated with a strike. We got a better deal. They offered 90,000, and we got close to $1 million. The Omaha's used the same formula we did. So Sam and I negotiated for two tribes. They want to use our abilities, then copy us. That's all right. We go for this, we present a stronger hand. So getting four tribes together in such a short time is going to diminish our ability to negotiate. So if we had plenty of time, I'd go along with it, but I think we shortchange ourselves. That's all.
I agree with Louis. His experience is probably similar. He's got a little more experience than me, but we've been working together for a long time, pushing 30 years back to my internship. And I think we need to act in the Winnebago's interest, and we need to invite the other tribes to participate with us is probably the best approach. And that way we can have a coalition-oriented approach, but in the end, we represent the Winnebago people.
Yep. Always. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Lance. Okay. We're on to old business. And item 1 is LaDonna hosting 12 clans. LaDonna, are you on? LaDonna? I see her name.
Looks like her mic just went green, but maybe it's not working. Looks like she turned her mic on though just now.
LaDonna? Did she? What did it say?
In regards to the database and the pandemic, the governor of Nebraska has set the database to report the Nebraskans recovered from COVID-19 would not acute to the state does not track those recovered from the coronavirus. Why would they consider the tracking of tobacco more than the pandemic?
Can't hear anything.
What was that? This is common.
Repeat that. I didn't hear any of that.
Roland, it was just a comment on the tobacco that LaDonna had done, but she says she's calling in now.
Okay, thank you.
There's a little bubble up there top of the screen where you brings it up.
Oh,
So,
yeah. You guys look on your top of your right screen. You see it had a little red 2 on it. Those are the comments. It says, in regards to a database in the pandemic, the governor of Nebraska has the database to report the Nebraskans recovered from COVID-19 were not accurate. So the state does not track those recovered from the coronavirus. Why would they consider the tracking of tobacco more important than the pandemic? But yeah, up on the right-hand top corner, there's a little circle. And you see there was a red little 2 on there. You can read comments from. Madonna, are you there yet?
It says their mic's on.
Chairman, this is Garen. I think LaDonna's computer microphone is not plugged in. And so if LaDonna can hear this, as you can see, Esther Mercer, she called in. And if we can have LaDonna use her cell phone to call into the meeting, I think we can do that. But everybody else, if you notice on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, it'll show like a microphone. That means that it's a computer mic. And then if you see like by Esther's name, it shows like a telephone symbol, and that means she's called in. Same with Erica Dunn. So LaDonna, if you're able to hear the audio of this stream,
Hello?
okay.
Madonna,
She has to mute her computer. 1 second.
yeah.
LaDonna?
Yeah.
You're gonna have to step away from your speaker. You're close to the computer speaker.
Hello.
LaDonna, you good?
Hello? Oh, man.
She's getting feedback. Hey, LaDonna, you were on, and we just need you to shut your computer off and then call in with your phone. Okay, we got IT, person from the IT that's gonna try to help LaDonna, Chairman.
Okay.
All
LaDonna,
for it.
LaDonna, you there?
Am I? Ah. Hello? Hello?
Hey, LaDonna, we can hear you
How's
good now.
that? Okay. OMG. Sorry, everyone. I guess we need a new computer. Okay. Should I get started?
Yes,
Hello?
LaDonna, go ahead. Sounds good.
Okay. I can't hear you guys very well, but okay. The first thing I had was the back in December when I was on the mid-month U2 meeting, I was concerned that I was just arbitrarily given metformin. And back then it was cited as possible. Well, since then it's been removed. And I was concerned that I wasn't given, since I was borderline, I should have been like referred to control my diabetes, which I don't have, by the way. It was just because of, I had a lot of sugar that day. And control my diabetes with diet and exercise. And that was never done. It was just arbitrarily give me a pill, and it was metformin. So when I Googled metformin, that's what I found out. Since then, it's been recalled, but not totally recalled. I called the pharmacy on Friday or on Wednesday just to make sure that we are not giving metformin anymore. And they said, yes, that we are giving metformin, but it is metformin that was not made by the companies that had it recalled. So, and everybody sees all over the television about these things with Zantac. That was the first, that was one of the things that, you know, have already happened with Zantac. So now there's all kinds of lawsuits with that. And I just kind of think that this is the same thing that's going to be happening with our people that are taking metformin. What I've heard about that is nothing is good, that it has, and people are having all kinds of side effects with that. And when they stop taking it, they're okay. So that's something there. I would just like us to be able to use something else. It is not in my power to do that. So those are things that not only with metformin, but with all of the prescriptions that our people are being given down there. They're not getting patient care. They're just giving pills. And just this past weekend, we had a incident with one of our elders she was told to just take one of her brown pills and drink some water. And the family had to take her to Pender. And because we're not getting patient care, good patient care down there, our people are going to Pender. We don't trust 12 plans anymore. So we need to get good doctors in there. These are kind of all of my three things running together because they do. And since December or January 23rd of 2019, we had a meeting with 12 plans. It was Danelle, Dr. Noisy Hawk, and the alcohol board. And we were working on getting detox at that time. Danelle, Crystal, and myself, we even went to the Wagner Hospital to see how they did it. And well, That's been over a year ago. And it's just kind of fell off to the wayside. And it's with our diabetes and our substance abuse, these are our main issues that and the rest of the community is deeply concerned about because they're not being addressed. And they can't be addressed if we don't have good doctors. So there you have it. You know, if we're going to continue to lose people in that ER, there was not an ER doctor on during this time. So that's just, I don't know what's going on with that ER, but I'm going to use myself. I went May 16 because I had ended up, long story short, I had bacterial pneumonia, and they gave me a albuterol inhaler to use, and that wasn't doing the trick, so I called ER again, and the nurse says, well, there's really not anything we can do for you here, just keep using your inhaler. And I was like, what the heck? You know, so I did go to the ER anyway, and I demanded to be seen. And Sarah McIntosh, she gave me an x-ray, decided that I had bacterial pneumonia, started me on an antibiotic, and gave me a nebulizer machine to use 3 times a day. And, you know, if that was somebody else, I don't know if they would have done that. A lot of our people just listen to the doctors down there or the nurses because they think they should know what they're talking about. So I'm really concerned about how we're just letting that ER be the way it is. I don't know how many horror stories we have to have. I don't know what happened with all those complaints that we put in. Were they addressed? I mean, and Danelle, if you're listening, I see things in the paper where you're doing a very good job, but I don't see it. I don't see our people getting better. And we could. That could be an awesome hospital, but we don't have the doctors in there that care. All of the doctors and nursing staff that we had in there that cared about our people were walked off by Linnell Noisy Hawk. And right now, I don't know what kind of doctors, well, the doctors we get, oh, I could go on and on about the dealings that I've had in that ER. But I think people know well enough that, and there's been enough written complaints. So where do those go? Do those go to Danelle? Do they stop there? Do they go to the board of directors? Who's not acting? So that's what I'm asking tribal council today. When are we going to act? How many more lives have to be lost? I'm finished for now. Anybody have any?
Okay. First with metformin, I am on metformin, and when I seen that on Facebook, but I heard it verbally, then, but also I've been, you've been seeing it on Facebook for over the last year or two, but, and I was told that it's a different dosage, it's a different, it's fast acting, or it's just different dosage. They're not giving it to us here. And I spoke with Carl too. Carl had his concerns, and I kind of assured him, that we're not getting it. Call the pharmacy. They're not giving it to us.
I did call the pharmacy, and I verified that. And that's what I just got through saying. On July 1st, I spoke with the pharmacy, And they said that they are still giving metformin, but it is not the metformin that was recalled.
Yeah. Yes.
So how do we know that is going to be still going to be okay? Why can't, instead of taking a chance with our people's lives, why can't we do something else? Why can't we educate the doctors that, hey, you know what? It's better to try to control things with diet and exercise, which I know some of our men down there at that weight room have done instead of taking these pills. And we have a very good program, Ho Chunk Hope. Why don't the doctors try to refer us to that? There was no mention of that when I went. They just gave me a pill, tried to give me a pill. I didn't take it. But a lot of our people just take those pills.
Some of our people don't follow recommendations.
What's that, Chloe?
Some of our people don't follow their recommendations to exercise, how to eat healthy. I know this, you know, personally. From my own, and I know this from my own family. That's the only, I can only speak for that way. Myself and my own family don't follow recommendations from Whirling Thunder, the health department, you know, with diabetes. I know that.
Yeah, well, what I'm saying is that we have people that do. They're down there in that weight room. They were trying to give them metformin instead of saying, hey, you know what? Do this. Let's try to do it this way.
Yeah, they can't make them. They can't make them get down there and exercise, you know.
They can suggest it. They can say, you can change your life by doing this. Yeah, we can't, but we can at least suggest it. Just like we can't keep everyone from doing drugs or alcohol, but we can try. Because we never know that this isn't going to be the time when somebody's going to turn their life around. We have to keep trying.
Yeah, I know.
Chairman,
Yes.
you know, there's always a generic drug, and there's a generic drug to every drug. Is there something, do we know if there's another drug equivalent to metformin that hasn't been recalled? And I see we have Danelle on the call on here. I was wondering if she could say something to this as well.
Danelle?
Good morning.
Good morning.
As LaDonna mentioned with regard to metformin, we have not, I double checked to confirm this with our pharmacy, and the version of metformin that was recalled, we have not dispensed that to any of our patients. And so it's not, the version that's given out is not recalled. And if any particular patient has any concerns with regard to their prescriptions or their diabetes treatment, they are certainly welcome to contact their provider because every individual is different. And we do have the diabetes program, so referrals are given to the diabetes program. And you know, as you know, LaDonna, it's an award-winning program and does very good work with our population, for diabetes management and diabetes prevention. So that is available for people, and we would highly encourage anybody who's in that situation to participate.
The thing with that is our doctors don't know to refer our people to that. Even though we know that, a lot of our people don't know about that either, even though it's been here so long. I guess they get stuck in a rut with just taking pills. But we go through doctors so fast, so how do we educate each one on what we have?
Every doctor, and actually every staff person that comes in, it goes through an extensive orientation process. And so for the providers, we do make sure that one of their orientation items is to meet with the health department so that they can go through all of those resources that are available to our community, because we do have a lot of resources, you know, on the preventative care and things like that, that would be beneficial. So, you know, if you didn't receive that, I apologize for that. And we'll make sure to reiterate that to our providers so that they can provide that information to patients.
Okay, so now how are we gonna get,
Danelle, this is Thelma. Can you check with pharmacy to see if there's another alternative to metformin?
Yeah, there are alternative drugs. And metformin is still a very good drug for diabetes. And like I said, if any individual who does take medication for diabetes, if they're concerned about it, they should certainly meet with their provider. You know, I don't want to make any blanket statements about what people should do or not do for their diabetes control and management. But if they are concerned, they are certainly welcome to talk to their provider. The metformin that was recalled is not distributed by our pharmacy.
Okay, so do you know if when they see the doctor, are they given that option to which medication they would like to take, or are they just prescribed metformin?
I mean, it's an individualized treatment plan. So,
well, what I'm saying is the
cons-
patients that go in, they don't know. Yeah, they don't know the medications. So if
Mhm.
they are shown that option of what they would like to take, then maybe they should be given that option with what's available at the 12 clans.
Donna, anything else on item 1 on your referral, metformin?
well, I guess not. I just wanted to bring it to your attention that, you know, yes, Danelle is correct, and I verified that with the pharmacy, that the metformin that we're dispersing is not the metformin that was recalled. But
Okay.
yeah. Okay, so the next thing I had is detox. We've been talking detox for a long time. And it's, along with diabetes, substance abuse is crucial for our people. I don't know how many people we've lost. I've been in that ER where I've heard doctors say they're not sick, they're drunk. And in order, we don't have detox, but we found a way. We have the shelters. That was a big part of first of us getting the men's shelter, because they did not have a safe place to go back to detox. They would go back to a house that was already drinking, so they needed a safe place. And then if they needed to go back for another banana bag or the Ativan, then they could. But that's how we're having to detox people. We do the same thing through the halfway house. But originally, there was supposed to be 2 beds in that hospital that were designated for detox. And we just don't do anything about it, or I don't know. We started talking about it, and on December 18th of 2018, and right when we were also talking about the MAP program, and Linnell Noisy-Hawk told me, oh no, we're not going to be able to get that for a couple of years. There was all kinds of certifications that had to be done to administer that, and that was all wrong. It wasn't. It's just a shot. By the way, we do have the MAT program now, and we have like 6 people on it that are doing well. But that's part of detox too. If we could get our people into detox and they could go right into our DDU, then get on the MAT program, they might have a chance. We do have a sober living facility for them now. We're going to have a new halfway house. That's the crucial beginning there, getting our people off the street, getting them to having medical detox available for them, because some of our people, without that, it's just not imaginable for them to get off drugs or alcohol.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
can I respond, make some comments about that?
yes to no, go ahead.
Yeah, so I guess first of all, thank you, LaDonna, for all of the hard work that you've been doing around substance abuse. We did have the meeting a while ago and talked about all of the resources that are existing in the community and some of the missing links and added resources that would be very beneficial to our population. And there was kind of 2 components that we had met about. One of them was the MAT program, the medically assisted treatment program, and the other one was detox. And so we had started exploring detox programs and did make the visit to the Wagner Hospital to see how they operate their program. So there has been some work in progress made around that. We were successful in getting the medically assisted treatment program up and running. We started that out this past year, and just kind of ran. We've had multiple patients who have gone through that now, and it's working pretty well. We've got all the pieces in place, and that treatment option is available, as one component of a larger treatment program for individuals. And so we're pretty, happy that happened, and we were able to implement that. That is available to our community now. The detox is certainly another component that is important in that treatment process. And so it's not fell by the wayside, and it's not, just ignored or anything like that. It is certainly on the radar still, and continues to be a priority. We've been, as everybody knows, in a pandemic situation. So a lot of our resources are thin and have been very focused on addressing this. And so I am very hopeful that we'll be able to continue to make progress on that area very soon.
Thanks to no.
Now,
Okay.
Yes.
do you have a timeline on that detox?
No, I don't have a specific timeline about it. With the pandemic, we don't know quite how long this is going to go on. We're also in some transition with our medical staff leadership. And so once we get that addressed and we can pick up the detox thing again and move forward with how we can do that. The other thing I wanted to point out too is that we also want, our priority is to make sure that it's done safely. And of course we want, all of the care that's taken for our patients to be done in a safe manner. And when somebody is detoxing, there's a lot of complications that can happen. And we want to make sure that, any patient that we admit, that we have the resources to be able to support them and do it in a safe manner.
The other thing I have a question on for you, Danelle, is that relationship with our DDU. Where are we with all that? We should be really connected with these guys in regards to this detox, this MAT, and all of these other issues that we're experiencing on this reservation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've had periodic communications with the DDU. They actually just started admitting patients again about 2 weeks ago. They had actually closed for a period of time due to the pandemic. So Robbie Lemaster is our social worker, and she's, you know, one of the points of contacts for patients who come through the hospital who need substance abuse. And so we're connected in with them so we can make those referrals back and forth when it's appropriate.
Okay, we, as the Winnebago tribe of Nebraska, put a great amount of resource into our alcohol program. And so having those assessments, having those intakes done in conjunction with this detox, in conjunction with your on-staff in-house social worker, those two components should be working hand in hand. Are they?
Yes. Yes, I agree. Yep.
Danelle, so are those 2 beds still gonna be available for the detox?
We have 13 inpatient beds, and so we don't have like specific beds designated for specific conditions. And so, you know, if once we get to the point where we are able to admit patients for those types of conditions, it wouldn't be restricted to certain beds. A lot of it is dependent on just making sure that we have the staff, you know, who have the training and of course all of the protocols and things that in place in order to treat a patient effectively, and that would be on a case-by-case basis.
Thank you.
Okay, Danelle, you're the chairman of your board of director, James Rixner, has those plans that from the original, when that hospital was built, what the plans were for that. And it specifically said 2 beds would be designated for detox. And yes, we are in a pandemic, but that's 2 people. Mm-hmm. And they would be in separate rooms, and that's social distancing. So how is the pandemic? How are we not able to detox because of the pandemic? I mean, that should really have nothing to do with detoxing.
Yeah, it's staff resources and just making sure that we have all of the protocols and processes and staffing in place in order to support that, along with everything else. And originally, when the hospital was built, as you all know, the DDU was integrated as a part of the hospital. And several years ago, the DDU was segmented away, so it's not integrated with the hospital anymore. So, you know, having specific beds designated for it isn't really applicable anymore. It's really more about just making sure we have the staffing and resources and processes in place in order to safely take care of those patients.
Well, DDU has nothing to do with the hospital having 2 beds for detox.
I got a question. Can maybe Roland, how is the alcohol program funded totally?
The alcohol program receives state funding to help with the halfway house.
Okay. Is there any funding coming from 12 plans?
For the alcohol program,
Yes.
most of its funding comes through the state.
They have to follow the state guidelines. Those are state licensors. So it's mandated by the state on how things are regulated.
Well, I guess my last comment would be, I hope that when this new halfway house is completed, that when, our program is up to, and with this detox, we can have something going by then. Correct? Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, it would be nice, but I'm wondering where we're at from the February 28th meeting in Wagner. What's happened since?
Who was at that February 28th meeting?
From Winnebago, there was Danelle, Crystal, Snowball, our director, and myself. The rest were from the Wagner Hospital, the CEO, and some of the medical staff there. That meeting was kind of set up by one of the a young nurse that was doing some work in the ER in Winnebago, and she's seen how many alcohol-related cases that we had, and she kind of reached out to them and asking if we couldn't help the Winnebago hospital. And we had that meeting, and that was it. That's been March, April, May, June, July, 17 months ago.
Is there any other comments to address this?
Chairman,
Yes, John.
these are important things, and we should talk about them. But I don't see any real action items today. I think a good path for this would refer it to the board, and we could come back. Danelle come back and report during our monthly meeting for the when she comes in and meets with us, and they can report on these 3 items.
Okay, good.
And I would also like to be present if that's possible.
Yes, Chairman, that's during the treasurer's report, and I believe tribe members are allowed to attend those.
Okay, and I'd also like to give the alcohol program credit for the medically assisted treatment program being in place. Would it not be for our continual push on this, it would not have happened.
Good. That's what we need to do. Keep pushing.
Yes, and the same thing with the detox. We need that, and we're going to keep pushing for that. As an outreach worker, that's what I have to do, because nobody else is doing it.
If I may?
Roland.
Yes. In regards to what John has alluded to, that there really are no action items, I would agree. Having further discussion on these issues, I believe that we should make that a priority, and that we do need to make some progress in these areas. And having LaDonna advocating for detox and then better care at the hospital but mainly, the issue right here with detox. I'm glad that she's following up and then asking questions. They're good questions, and they deserve an answer. And so there's a saying that says that the loudest wheel gets the grease. That means the squeakiest wheel in the cog that's making all the noise gets all the grease. They get all the oil. So if nobody says nothing, nothing gets done. So I'm glad that she's bringing this to our attention some more again, and we should come to some resolution on this. Thank you, LaDonna.
Well, thank you for hearing me.
Yeah,
And thank you, the people, thank you.
keep pushing for it, keep trying pushing to get our people sober.
Well, like I said, detox is crucial, because without that medical detox, sobriety, being clean is just unthinkable for some of our people. It's that bad. Okay, so I guess that's all I have. I mean, it's been a long time coming, and because we're in a pandemic, I don't see how that would interfere with what we have to do, because we all know, we get the report every week about washing our hands, social distancing, and to continue wearing our masks. But we need forward. As Danelle said, we don't know how long this is going to last. So we can't wait for this pandemic to be over. We've waited long enough. Our people are dying.
Yeah. I am sure it's a nationwide problem with all tribes, even the other communities. Though we're focused on our tribe. Let's focus on
Correct.
our tribe.
Thank you, Coley.
Is that all you have today?
That's all I have.
Coley,
Thelma?
before LaDonna goes, can we have this presented at the mid-month meeting so other people can get on the live stream? Because of it'll be on the treasures, and I don't think there'll be too many that would listen in on that one. I'm sure the public wants to hear this, and they're concerned about this also. So I would like to see it on the mid-month.
Okay. Put it on the agenda for mid-month.
Yeah.
Hey,
And
thank
one
you.
of the other concerns, I'm sorry, one more
ahead.
thing I just to say is, why do our people feel more comfortable going to Pender? That's a very, very, we have this beautiful hospital, and our people don't trust it. So something different has to change. I mean, the last time, we're not live streamed now, are we?
Yes, still are.
Oh. Well, the last time we came before you, we had to bring to your attention that a doctor with a sexual addiction was working at our hospital. That was, I don't know how that happened, but those are the things that are happening, and nobody's really saying anything. So people are asking, well, what happened to that complaint I did? What happened to it? I don't know. I don't have an answer for them. So, this is what we're also trying to do, is get an answer for those people. When are things going to change? When are they going to feel comfortable going to that hospital?
Yeah.
Chairman?
That what you said about that doctor, that was addressed and taken care of. That doctor's no longer here.
I know, but would it have happened if we didn't bring it to your attention? Why was he here to begin with? How did that
Chairman.
even happen?
Chairman,
John, go ahead.
I want to thank LaDonna for bringing forward these 3 items. I think they're 3 good items, but I think we're getting off of her request that was signed. And I would like to stick to the request. And I think we've listened. I think we've addressed it. And then we found a path forward for those 3 items. So I just don't want to get into an area where we're not following the request, the written request.
I'm in agreement with Councilman Snowball, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you.
Chairman Brown,
Yes,
just a FYI for Madam Secretary and Teresa, Carl had to jump off for future. He left the meeting. Just a FYI.
yes, Carl's out at 12:30 due to a doctor's appointment at 11.
10:30.
Yeah, 10:30. Okay, thank you, LaDonna. We'll
All right.
see you back at mid-month. Okay, we are now on to tribal council items. 1, Valerie Mallory requesting,
Mr. Chair,
yes,
before we go into executive session, I think I would like to hear the added items. So that way, once we go into executive session, then we'll be finished.
is that fine with tribal council?
I would agree.
Okay. Okay, John, your items, powwow, vacant board seats. What do you got, John?
Yeah, just real fast. Nothing we need to do today, but I think we should either add it to the agenda or have a special meeting for it to. That way we can identify all the board vacancies that have occurred with our 2 council members that are no longer on the council. Identify those vacancies and get them filled.
Okay. Should we put that on the mid-month or wait that for the CEO report?
This is Esther. Tyresha is out on PTO today. So we can try to work on this tomorrow, but if we're able to pull that together, we'll put it on the CEO report.
Okay. Thank you.
Then, Chairman, I could move on to the second item that I had.
Go ahead.
The Winnebago powwow is, I believe, less than 3 weeks or about 3 weeks out. And I guess I would want to meet with the powwow committee and see where we're at. And I know our schedule is open tomorrow, so if we can pull together a meeting tomorrow and discuss the Winnebago celebration, I think it'd be good.
Chairman,
Go ahead, Eric.
we held a meeting last week and we got some minutes. We kind of got a budget together. We're probably looking at around 55,000, something like that. Because if you look at all 4 days, we're looking at over 200,000. And so per day, that runs us about 55,000. And so just what we come with right now, and that's just paying dancers, which turns out to be a lot, substantially, just even for a small powwow, paying dancers is a lot. And that's about 25,000 right there. That's just the dancers. And then we're gonna take on the drums. We're looking at 4 drums, 10 people, $100. That does all add up. And so even for the 1-day event that we're looking at on July 25th, which is a Saturday, we're still trying to look at accommodating porta potties as well, even for that, just that 1 day. And then I also want to feed the people on that day. And so we're looking at that. Because if we're gonna bring our people together, we kind of want to share that time together. And also I'm trying to go do a live on there. So the people that don't want to show up for COVID purposes, they could still be kind of involved in watching. And so we had this meeting last week, and I can see if we can if I can get some of the committee members together, so we could have a meeting tomorrow. So I would be I would be on board with that.
Okay. What time should we set this meeting up tomorrow? Mid-morning or mid-afternoon? What works for everybody?
I would say afternoon, just give everybody enough reaction time to let their jobs know.
What
Okay.
time? 1 o'clock?
Let's go with 1 o'clock.
Okay, we will set that go-to meeting up at 1 PM tomorrow, and maybe we can open up the gym, so if the Powell Committee wants to come in and all don't have access to a computer, and wear your mask, we got these masks and shields in here, so that'd be a good thing for our veterans. They want to come sit in.
Chairman, can we,
Go ahead, John.
Chairman, can we put an invite out to public health? That way we can have the health aspect discussed on how we're gonna do the celebration.
We've already talked to Mona Zavante on our last meeting, and we got her blessings on everything that we're doing. But you know, again, just so the council is aware of our past discussion this last meeting, I would like to have Mona Zavante there as well at that meeting, just so everybody's on the same sheet of paper.
Yes, we'll include her, try and get her on. 1 PM tomorrow, okay. And that takes care of our added items, correct?
Correct.
Motion to go into executive, Chairman.
Second.
There's a motion by John, second by Ron to go into executive session at 10:46 AM. Any objections? No objections? Discussion? None? Okay, we're into executive session at 10:46 AM, 500.
Stand by, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Let us know when we're all clear.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I would like to recuse myself on this executive session.